Hi everyone, it's Theresa with this week's angel reading. And this week, the angels are speaking to us through the Transience card. There are so many possibilities with this card. It's incredible. But what they're talking about mostly is how people are feeling a little bit ungrounded and untethered. It's almost like there's not a whole lot for people to hang on to in these moments. And you may not personally be feeling that way, but a really large part of the population is. There's fear, there's anger, there's just a whirlwind of emotions that are making people feel very ungrounded and untethered. So what we're being called to do is to find a way to ground ourselves and to find a way to be that calm, stable force in the midst of all of that chaos. But there's also a piece of this where the angels are talking to us about our guidance shifting so quickly. And I know I've heard over and over from all of you that that's something that's happening right now for a lot of us. So it's almost like you get the guidance, you go to follow it, and bam, it changes. And that can be frustrating and that can be frightening because there's so much energy sometimes that goes into following the guidance and then it seems to shift instantaneously. So the angels are saying we understand that that's the situation right now and we kind of empathize with you, but it's also a call to know the state of things right now. We are at a place where the veil is so thin that we're getting our guidance much more quickly than we were in the past. And it's also needed much more quickly than it was in the past. So if the path to our best and highest for ourselves and for the world shifts, our guidance will shift in accordance with it. And so it's really a call for us to live in that moment-to-moment place where we've learned over time is actually a place of meditation, being completely there in the moment and listening in for guidance. It's so interesting also how quickly history is repeating itself if we don't learn the lessons from it immediately. So we can see right now on the world level, the situation that happened in the American election last year is happening now in France. And it's so interesting because the way people are reacting is largely the same as what happened in the US. In the US, for the most part, most of the population did not feel represented by either candidate. And so instead of saying, okay, we need to call forth a candidate who we feel represents us, a lot of us just decided to sit back and allow the election to happen anyway. Where that's the same exact thing that's happening in France right now. Actually, the majority of the people don't feel represented by either candidate. But instead of saying we should not have the election until there is a candidate that we feel represents the majority, what's happening is that people are sitting back and saying, well, we're not going to go vote. And so this is just history repeating itself, and nothing has changed so far. And let's hope that something shifts and changes so that this kind of situation can not have to happen again for us to get it. And it's so interesting how quickly that happened. It didn't wait generations, it happened within months. Right now, you'll notice also on a personal level, maybe you cut somebody off on the highway, maybe it's not intentional, maybe it just happens. And then within 2 minutes, somebody cuts you off. Just sort of to balance out that karma. It's really interesting how quickly it's happening. And the angels want you to bring your attention there and to see this, to see these situations as happening much more quickly than they did in the past, because it's very important that we clear and that we learn from each situation in our lives, both on the personal level and on the global level. Doing this while staying out of judgment is increasingly difficult for so many of us. So when we get cut off on the highway, it's hard not to just open the window and yell obscenities at the person. I know, I'm human too. But the angels are saying that's not what this is about. You know, just like talking about these elections isn't really a judgment on any one candidate. I am somehow miraculously keeping my personal feelings out of this reading, but it's just what's going on in the collective. It's about the people as a whole. It's about people as a whole coming together and visualizing the kind of world that they want. the kind of world that we want as a collective society. And a lot of these situations are happening because of the fragmentation in that visualization. We can hold a little part of the dream, but we can't hold the entire dream all the time. And that's what the angels want us to do, is to move through this increasingly turbulent energy by holding our center and getting clear on what our dream is, both personally and for the world, because those two things are not exclusive. They're actually very, very intertwined. They're the same thing, just on a different scale. So as it happens for one, it happens for the whole. So it's important for us to know why it is that we want what we want for ourselves and for the world, what that big picture dream is, and then to stand rock solid in the knowing of what that is, and to let go of the hows. It doesn't matter how we get there. When we get too attached to the how we get there is when we get into these dialogues that really aren't helpful, because everyone's so attached to the how that we lose the vision of what it is we want to create. So it's really important right now to let go of the hows, to hold the vision, and to be in community with the world, because ultimately we really deep down all have the same vision. It's the hows that separate us. So it's time to let go of those. And that is your angel message for this week. I thank you so much for listening. It means so much to me that you're here week after week sharing these messages with other people so that the words of the angels can get out and so that we can clear a lot of this energy much faster. If you would like your own personal private angel reading with me and the angels, just click the link below for more information on how to do that. And if you have any questions at all about your own reading or in general, please feel free to email me at info@healthyvibrantyou.com and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to meeting with you next week. Goodbye, everybody.